enjoying a lot of warming foods this winter for breakfast. I feel like all around we've just put a little bit more emphasis into nourishing, warming meals. And I wanted to switch that up a little bit this morning because I feel like we've had a lot of kind of the same thing. So this morning I am putting together some baked apples. Now these aren't going to be the traditional like dessert baked apples. I need to make butter, so I'm going to get these started in the oven a while, and then I want to put some butter in them, maybe some cinnamon and a little bit of honey. And then I thought we would just leave the insides empty, and then once they're baked, we can go ahead and fill them with some yogurt and granola. So almost like a yogurt parfait, if you will, but with a little bit of a twist. Add a little bit of water to the bottom of this, and then we'll pop it in the oven. The apples are almost done baking, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drizzle them with a little bit of maple syrup that can kind of caramelize on the edges while it finishes up. Okay, our apples are ready and smelling so delicious. Hang on, let me turn this off. Our butter isn't quite done yet, so we're gonna skip the butter for today and just go with our yogurt and granola. And then a little sprinkle of cinnamon. Foggy, misty mornings are some of my very favorite in the entire world. It is so magical when it is like this, and I am just drinking it up. I had to step outside for a couple of minutes and just take it in and enjoy it. It finally feels like spring after such a long winter. Yesterday I looked out at this lawn out here and counted 15 robins in like a bare patch of grass. The snow is melting and it feels so refreshing after the last couple of weeks. We've had a lot going on behind the scenes that I haven't talked about on here, but the biggest thing was one of our kids ended up in the hospital with pneumonia and sepsis, and it was terrifying, one of the hardest weekends of my life. And so now to be on the other side of it, and then actually just a couple nights ago, we ended up in the ER again with another child. So it's just been feeling like a lot the last few weeks. We've had a very healthy fall and winter, hardly any sickness until suddenly this hit. And it's just kind of, it's been probably good to just kind of remember like what are the priorities, and it quickly just puts life into perspective when you're laying next to your child in a hospital bed and they have all these wires and an IV and everything. And so we are just incredibly grateful for the Lord's faithfulness and sustenance through all of that, and that this child is completely recovered now. Just every day feels like such a gift. But having said all that, spring sounds extra special, and I'm so ready for it this year. So I thought it would be fun though, while we're out here, to head out to the garden and kind of take a look over on things. It's funny because this year I was like, this is going to be the year where I'm on top of it. We've not had super snowy winters the last number of years, and so it would snow a little bit, but then it would melt. And so my goal was I would spend these cold months working on trimming back things that I usually wait for the spring for. So cutting back a lot of like dead growth and all of that. And then we got dumped with literally probably ended up with a couple feet of snow after a few weeks. And we've had snow stay now for weeks and weeks, which is very uncommon for here. So I don't know if you can see down there. Let me see if I can turn you. Something that's high on my list here for the next week or so is way down there. You can maybe through the fog see a bunch of fruit trees. So we have some apple trees, peach trees, pear trees, and those need to be pruned when they're still very dormant, and so that really needs to happen. But then I had hoped to just get on top of a lot of other things as well, as far as cutting back the grapevines here could be cut back. So anyways, all that to say, I have just been itching to get out. While we thoroughly enjoyed all those beautiful snow days, this is such a just welcoming sight to see patches of grass again and all these robins. I mean, even right now I'm seeing tons of birds out there singing. I hope you can hear them in the background. It's so beautiful. But let's go swing by the garden real quick yet before we head in and do some school with the little ones. The big kids are so independent by now with school, so that's why you're not seeing me a lot with them doing school in here other than when we're doing unit study or something like that. But I want to get some school done with the little girls as well. Well, I guess this is the garden in February. Clearly, we're not quite ready to start planting anytime soon, but it's still fun to come out here and kind of see where things are at, right, Coco? Good girl. This arch blew over in a bad storm we had at the end of last year, and so we'll need to see if we can fix that. It looks like part of it's actually broken, so I don't know if Josh can like weld that back together or not. I loved having that for the tomatoes, and then I never got my tomato plants cleaned off, so probably what that means is we'll have a bunch of little starts coming up everywhere because they reseed themselves. But this is fun. I cannot wait to come back out here when it's all lush and green. That'll be so much fun. But for now, it looks like we need to let it thaw out a little bit more before we can come out here and actually clean out beds and get them ready for planting again. This past year, I have tried to be so intentional about finding beauty in all the little things that you might not think of in every season. And so this winter, which winter is usually my hardest time because it's often kind of brown and just drab outside. But after trying to train my eye to find those little pockets of beauty every single day of the year, I'm noticing this. I think this was thyme spilling over the boxes. It's all brown. You'd say it looks ugly, but I think it's actually so beautiful. Look at the detail. Isn't that beautiful in its own way? It's all brown and dried up, but it's spilling beautifully over the snow and all that detail. So much beauty that we take for granted. Which two rhyme here?
These two.
Can you think of some words that would rhyme with hat?
Bat.
Bat.
All right. O says ah. O says ah. O says ah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Q, O, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Good.
I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
That's amazing. High five. Good job. Okay, so deer love to eat grass. Today, you get to give the deer on this page grass. All right, now point to uppercase S. Lunch is leftover soup with that delicious fresh butter slathered on bread and then some honey. Another thing on my list today is to finally take down the rest of our winter decor. So I take off all the ornaments and anything like blatantly Christmas soon after Christmas, but then I love to leave the actual greens up for a couple more months. But it is the end of February, and in fact, till you're watching this, we're probably beginning of March, which means it is time to pack it away. So that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna drag these over. We have a door in our kitchen that you can back the gator up to, and Hudson loves it. He calls it his little loading port. So we're gonna pull all these over there, get them all packed away, and then hauled out to the storage room. To the summer print. I actually have been excited to put this one back up. I really love how this one looks on here, but I'm trying to decide what I want to do surrounding it. I think I'll take my violin, back off, and I think I'll leave the candles on, but I've been trying to think what to do around that. I kind of want to switch it up from how I had it last year. So my wheels are turning right now. If you have any nice like mantle ideas, feel free to leave them for me down below. I think for now I'm just gonna pull these nails out, and yes, this is wood, so I literally just hammer in nails to hang stockings and to keep the garlands in and stuff each year. And then they pull right out again, and I can do it again the next year. But we'll pull those out and then wipe around it. And then I think for the rest, I'm just gonna leave it like this. This is always, I was just telling Josh, I was like, now I feel like I need to pull out a paintbrush. It happens every single year. I take down Christmas decor and then I feel like everything looks too blank and empty, and I get my decorating bug back, and I often make, you know, 1 or 2 changes that spring, and then I get busy with summer stuff, and then it happens again the next year. So my biggest like pain point with that is the kitchen, because it's so white with the cabinets. I love the light cabinets, but something like, I feel like it needs a little pop of something by the range hood or like somewhere around there to just add a little bit more texture and interest. And I have not yet been able to figure out something that's my style that I really like and that would fit the space well. So keep brainstorming on that as well, I guess. I'm not one who really does much seasonal decorating throughout the rest of the year. It's just Christmas decor or not Christmas decor, and the rest of like bringing in the seasons, if you will, happens just by that, like bringing in greenery, flowers, you know, elements from outside, but not so much in my actual decor. It's just vases of things here and there. And now the daylight is quickly fading, but I wanted to share with you yet for those of you that watched my video a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how I just had this itch to start sewing and asking you for ideas. So many of you had such good recommendations. And I sat down at the sewing machine, pulled out whatever fabric, and very quickly got discouraged. And I was like, no, I'm not cut out for this. I've tried this before. It is not my gift. And so I'm just gonna put it to the side. But I still couldn't get it out of my head. So a couple of days later, I tried again. I pulled out this dress that I had pulled out before, which was one of my dresses that I didn't love the fit of. And so I had been looking at some different patterns and stuff on Etsy, and I was so confused by how, like, when you print them, how to scale them and like put them together. I don't know, that part just felt really overwhelming to me, and I could have started with something simpler than a dress, I suppose, but for whatever reason, I had my mind set on that. And so I remembered that I had these beautiful little summer dresses that I had got for each of the girls a couple years ago. And so the one that was Leslie's then would fit Avi now. And so I thought, you know what, let's start with the smallest girl. I literally took that dress apart. So I'm starting on the one that was Kyra's, and now I want to make a dress for Leslie. So this one is already partly taken apart, but you can kind of get the idea. It's just a very basic summer dress. It has 3 buttons on the back, but I've already started taking this part off, and I literally just took every last little piece apart. Whoops. So this is Avi. So even things like this, like the, what do you call that? The piping or whatever to finish off the armholes and the neckline, I took that apart. I ironed it open. And that for me was super helpful because then I knew exactly how these pieces are supposed to fit together, where each piece goes. And it was a lot simpler to me than following some page of instructions that I wasn't quite sure what, you know, how it was all supposed to fit together. I'm sure a more experienced seamstress, or maybe even if you're just not quite as visual of a learner as me, that might work well for. Maybe I just didn't either look at the right website. I don't know, but this is what my dress turned out that I sewed. My first dress ever. I'm sure if you're a seamstress, you can tell that it's not perfect. This bottom ruffle was actually the bottom of the dress, so I didn't have to put that on, but I had never done anything like gathering fabric, so I would pull up a YouTube tutorial on that, figure out how to do that, and then in the back, I couldn't figure out the buttons. So I had looked up a tutorial on YouTube as well for that, and it sounds like if you have like a button foot for your sewing machine, it's a lot simpler. My sewing machine is years old. I've had it for, I don't know, probably like 8-ish years. And so I have no idea if it came with a button foot, or if it did, I lost it because I couldn't find one that looked like was in the video anywhere. So I actually ended up just making these little strap things and then making it so that you can tie it in the back, which Avi actually thinks is amazing. She loves that it has a ribbon. And then I didn't actually bring it here with me, but with one of the pockets that was in my dress, I made her a little purse that matches the fabric on the dress. And it's been so fun. She wears this thing with so much pride. So it was worth, even though I know some of you are probably looking at it and like, that is not impressive. Well, it's worth it for her big smile, and Leslie is begging me to sew her a dress now. So that's what I want to do with taking apart the next dress, because apparently that's the stage we're at now. I can sew a dress as good as this if I can take apart a different dress so that I can see exactly what I'm doing. So for those of you that were asking over on Instagram how I did this, that's the explanation, and hopefully that helps you out as well. Let me know if you try it. And for those of you that are more experienced, if that is just a terrible idea, you can let me know as well. But I do need to go finish a couple things. I have some computer work that I often try to push till milking time if I can, and Josh and the kids just went out to the barn. So I'll go work on a couple other things. I think we'll make some tacos for dinner tonight, but I hope you enjoyed following along today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
Golden, golden thing.